On today's episode of Shaun Shorts of Always Another Game, I want to ask you or even talk to you about what is sport actually really about. Now, to any of my regular listeners, you know the Shaun Shorts are a deep dive into my mind to find out stories about my sporting past or what I'm currently learning. And today specifically, more so a little bit about my parenting. Um, Regular listeners know I'm a proud father to two incredible boys, and one is now on his journey, starting his journey. He'll be in a team in his sport from September, officially in a league and everything like that. Now, the reason I've brought this up is, as a parent, you will know watching your kids play, it's very difficult, especially being a former athlete. There's always that competitiveness inside of you, that always that desire to win. And ultimately, I do agree that in sport, the aim or any time you play is to win. I don't think anybody deliberately goes out to lose. Losing, whether you're playing recreational or serious, isn't fun. It's not a nice feeling. Winning's a great feeling. Some of the best experiences I've had, not only in sport, but in my life, have been championship wins. That feeling, you can't, unless you've been in it, you can't explain the emotions that go through. I've spoken to a few athletes on the podcast about their experiences of winning gold medals and things like that. And a lot of the time, it's very difficult to put into words that emotion. So there's been a lot of hoo-ha for years now on in sports about, winning and getting rewarded for winning or getting rewarded for participation. My opinion is we should get both. Okay, it might be on the fence type of approach, but I feel the best players, the best performers, the hardest workers should get rewarded. I feel the teams who win the most games, who are most consistent, should get rewarded, because that's what life is about, right? Life is difficult. There are many challenges, and the most successful people are the ones who show up and do the work and achieve things and overcome losses and learn from their mistakes. And that should be rewarded. But I also think taking part has a place as well, because without the participation, without the enjoyment of playing sport, we don't learn anything anyway, and we don't get anywhere. And there'll be a number of people that may quit sport early because there are other players better. I saw an interesting reel on Instagram the other day that was saying some kids, excel at 6, some develop at 10, some develop at 12. With the right approach, they will all develop and they will all get there. And if we start clamping down on winning, solely winning too early, we could lose a lot of incredible people. People can miss out on opportunities. So I want to kind of share what I've been learning along the way. And sport has so much more to offer than just winning. And we could probably make a massive episode on this, but if we just look at the simple stuff like social element, you meet some of your best friends through sport. There's a number of people that I haven't spoken to in a long time, but I know if I saw them, it would be like old times. We would behave the same way. We would say the same things. We would laugh. We would smile. We would have an incredible time. And that relationship has been formed through playing ice hockey, being and understanding what it takes to be an ice hockey player. And you live in that environment. When we played semi-professional, professional, we were there minimum 4 times a week. You were around these people just as much as your family or work colleagues. So the social element is massive. Discipline's a good one. Now, I'm not going to talk about coaches today. I've got another Shaun Short episode about coaches specifically, because that comes up a lot in here. But the discipline element of, if you're asked to be there at a certain time, you're there at a certain time. If you're asked to do a certain thing in the right way, then you're there and you do that thing at that place. And I've got a lot of my timekeeping from sport. We used to get fined. I remember one team we had a very strict fine master, and 1 second past the time, we would be fined. And we knew he was strict, and we had a bit of fun with it as well, because if you're, what's the saying? If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. I live by that now, and that has been formed through ice hockey. I know people, but that's just how I live. I like to be early. I like to be prepared, and then you've got room if things don't go right. So, and the reason I say we're going to dig into the coach's side of it at all, because I understand you don't always come across a coach that works for you. And sometimes you don't want to be disciplined for them, and that can have a discipline effect on yourself. But that leads me on to my next point, is that sport builds tenacity. It builds what I call that lone wolf time. That, yes, even, we spoke about it again on the podcast. No matter, even if you're in an individual sport, there's always a team element with your coach or your physios or whatever. There's always a team element. Yet ultimately, whether you're in a team sport or an individual sport, you're a lone wolf. It's you out there. You're the only thing that you can control in the game. And that is exactly how life works as well. Is you might have people helping you along the way. You may have parents, you may have siblings, you may have coaches, you may have personal trainers, nutritionists, dietitians, whatever. You may get some help along the way, which is incredible, and I highly recommend it. Being a coach myself, I see the change in people who, yet you're the only person with you 24/7. Only person that is with you every single second of the day. You have the power to make a change, and sport helps you build resilience. You're playing against a competitor and you're trying to beat them. You're trying to get that win. That helps build resilience. It puts you through in difficult situations that you can correlate over into the real world. The tenacity element is that willingness to be the best, to be the champion, that you are then working and fine-tuning your skills. And as you know from this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, that you can transfer skills. So if you're successful on the court, on the ice, on the pitch, those skills can be correlated over to the gym, to your nutrition, to your business, to your parenting. So sport in itself builds up that resilience, that tenacity over the years that you can still use today. So I've got no issue with celebrating your wins. I think we should celebrate more wins. I think we did a podcast episode on celebrating the little wins and getting them stacked up. And I think it is an important part of sport, but we can't forget that ultimately what we're trying to do with these athletes, and some of the top coaches in the world say this is their primary goal, is to create good humans, to give these players, these performers, these athletes an opportunity to thrive in life and not just at sport. The Americans, they with high school and college, you have to keep up your grades. If you don't get to play sport. They want to make sure that you have life outside of the game as well. And I think that's very admirable. I think, sport, as much as it's a big part of our life, there is a point that it will finish in terms of competitiveness. The competitiveness will drop down as we age. Some people carry on a long time. Some people step away completely, and that's absolutely fine. You've got a purpose after that. But it gives you the skills to be able to thrive and enjoy what you do when your competitive time is over. So I want you to think about it today, whether you are playing or if you are a parent of a young athlete, it's very easy to get caught up in wanting them to win. I'm feeling it. I've experienced it. I want to be able to help, and I'm going to be investing some of my time to help the team with my sports performance and personal training skills, to help them have some fun, to build teamwork, but also get quicker and more agile, more explosive, which will then help them on the pitch. But I'm making sure that I'm doing it in a way that's going to help them grow and be great humans as well as great athletes. And I think that is so important, that we can't get too over-consumed in the sporting element and then have nothing to show for it away from the game. Because at the moment in my sporting accolades, all I have to show is past memories. Nobody cares anymore if I won a trophy 10 years ago or I got a Player of the Year award. Nobody cares. It was great in the moment. Now I have to continue to evolve and use those skills long after I finished playing. I think I must be coming up to about 5 years now since I retired. So I just wanted to make sure that was very clear today, and I want to know from you as well. If you can comment anywhere on any of these posts that I put out, let me know what does sport mean to you? If you are playing after you've finished competitively, but you still carry on, what does it mean to you? Is it the social element? Is it keeping yourself active? Is it the mental release? We've had that come up a few times. If you're not playing, what's the reason you're not playing? Is there something that sport didn't provide you that you found elsewhere? It's something just to rack our brains over, because it's very, very important to know that there is life away from the game, and that means you can carry on, and it means you don't have to also. So I hope you enjoyed that today. If you took anything away from my Shaun Short episode, please share it with somebody. If you haven't already, please hit the review button over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me, and it just helps somebody hear this episode that really needed to hear it today, and you have the power to do that for me. So thank you very much for anybody joining me.